the silent room they told Olivia never to enter room 306. She had just moved into the old apartment complex, a relic from the 1950s with creaky floors, dim hallways, and a lingering chill that no amount of heating could erase. The rent was cheap, the neighbors kept to themselves, and the landlord had one simple rule: never open the door to room 306. She laughed it off. Surely it was just a vacant apartment, a superstitious tale meant to keep tenants from exploring. But as the nights passed, she couldn't ignore the strange occurrences. The whispers begin. It started with the whispers. Soft, indecipherable murmurs that seemed to crawl through the walls. At first, she thought it was the neighbors. Paper-thin walls were common in old buildings. But the whispers never stopped. Not even at midnight when the world outside went silent. Then came the knocking. A rhythmic tapping from inside room 306. Not frantic or desperate, just steady, as if someone were waiting. One night, curiosity won over fear. She pressed her ear to the door. The whispers stopped. The air grew thick, suffocating. Then, "Olivia, let me out." A voice rasped from the other side. She stumbled back, her pulse hammering in her ears. No one should know her name. She rushed back to her apartment, bolted the door, and buried herself under the covers, willing sleep to take her. But just as her eyes grew heavy, her phone buzzed. "Unknown number. Why won't you let me out?" She threw the phone across the room. Seeking answers, the next day Olivia confronted the landlord. His face paled when she mentioned room 306. "No one has lived there for 30 years, he said, voice barely above a whisper. "Please, Olivia, do not go near that door again." She pressed him for details, but he refused to say more, only shaking his head as if speaking the truth would make it real again. That night, the whispers were louder, the knocking more insistent. A scraping sound echoed from behind the door, like nails against wood. The doorknob rattled, then the door creaked open. Darkness stretched beyond the threshold, swallowing the feeble glow of the hallway light. The air was ice cold, thick with the scent of decay. Then she saw it, a shadow. No form, no face, just a void, shifting unnaturally, its edges flickering like a dying flame. She stepped back. It stepped forward. Her breath caught in her throat. Then it spoke. "You opened the door. Now you belong to me." The world tilted. Darkness consumed her vision. The last thing she saw was her own reflection in the hallway mirror, except it wasn't moving. The apartment's dark passed. The next morning, Olivia awoke in her bed, drenched in sweat. Had it been a nightmare? She checked her phone. No messages. The hallway was normal. Room 306's door firmly shut. Determined to understand, she visited the local library. She combed through decades-old newspaper clippings, looking for anything about the apartment building. And then she found it. Mysterious disappearance in room 306. Tenant gone without a trace. Her blood ran cold. 30 years ago, a woman named Eleanor Green had rented room 306. Neighbors reported hearing her talking to herself, whispering in the dead of night. Then one evening, she vanished. No forced entry, no signs of struggle. Just gone. The room was sealed after that. She found an old photograph of Eleanor. A chill crawled down her spine. She looked exactly like Olivia. The final night. That evening, Olivia packed a bag. She was leaving. No amount of cheap rent was worth this nightmare. But as she stepped into the hallway, her body froze. The door to room 306 was wide open. A low, humming whisper snaked its way into her ears. It wasn't English, not any language she recognized. Her feet, moved forward against her will, drawn into the darkness beyond. She stepped inside. The room was barren, no furniture, no windows, just a single mirror hanging on the far wall. And in that mirror, Eleanor stood, staring at her with hollow eyes. The whispers grew deafening. The door slammed shut behind her. You opened the door. Now you belong to me. The last thing Olivia saw was her own reflection smiling back at her, before everything went black. The aftermath: the next morning, room 306 was sealed shut once more. A new tenant moved in a month later, and sometimes, late at night, neighbors hear whispers, and a woman's